Welcome to Supersizing Bliss, the podcast, where I, Toby Witte, read from my book Supersizing Bliss, How We Have Betrayed Our Homes and the Happiness We Seek. Here's the next chapter. Some myths around house ownership. Since the creation of the Farnsworth house, a mere yet still grandiose 1,586 square feet, the average size of houses in the US has grown from 1,100 to far over 2,600 square feet. Yet our families have lost on average one member. In other words, each of us gobbles up 3 times as much floor area to live in. That is just us. The stuff we hoard has gone haywire. The average American needs 830% more space for storage than Edith Farnsworth would have. House ownership has hung around 65% of Americans over the last decade. This means 35% of us don't own a house, or more precisely, live in an owned housing unit. Single-family houses are only slightly above 1/2 of all residences being built. The other half is made up of townhouses, duplexes, apartments, and the like. Only about 70% of children live with both their parents these days, and less than 50% of households have a married couple occupying it. Only 1/3 of all households are occupied with a married couple plus children. Edith Farnsworth, as a single person owning her home, was one of 5%. She would now be among 35% of our population. It is safe to say that the white picket fence surrounding the family of 4, with mom and dad doting over their son and daughter and their tail-wagging pooch, is but a pastiche from what we remember a Norman Rockwell painting to be. It is also safe to say that a 4 or 5 bedroom house is hardly a universally fitting answer to our various forms of household makeup. We all know we don't use our formal dining rooms anymore, except possibly for 2 hours on the 4th Thursday in November each year. And if I were to ask you what the drawing room you just purchased is for, you wouldn't be able to tell me. Presidential administrations, ever since Abraham Lincoln signed the 1862 Homestead Act, have provided ever new measures to promote the idea of single-family house ownership. We have loaded the idea with pathos and financial superiority. When we own a house, we tell ourselves we are living the American dream. When we own a house, we are building up our equity. Not even the financial crash in 2008 taught us any better. The entire world economy was brought to its knees by our houses. The myths and fears of missing out on the idea of owning a single-family house was hyped to the point at which the world's economy was brought to a screeching halt. But by golly, it is the cornerstone of an American identity of self-reliance and individual freedom. It is testimony to our self-reliance. Both the Obama and Trump administrations have thereafter tried to further the ideal, as the two have found different approaches toward the aspect of financial equity by fighting for and against the affirmatively furthering fair housing rule. The Biden administration was faced with a sudden increase of public awareness about the issue of a racial gap in wealth and home ownership, the very real inequality in the perceived financial equity. The house means wealth. The house means being an American. With the house, we are part of something greater. And some of us just have to fight that much harder to belong in it. We even have come to measure the country's economic health by housing starts. The number of new residential construction projects is being released each month by the U.S. Department of Commerce. We eagerly share where the numbers land and rush to the stock market to buy and sell our financial future, partly based on where they fall. And yet again, whether a single-family house actually makes for an appropriate answer to issues of equality, housing, and building wealth, whether it bears the right measures to combat the climate catastrophe we find ourselves in, or provide useful responses to the question of how we should live, are considerations we blissfully ignore. I'm your host, Toby Witte, author of Supersizing Bliss, How We Have Betrayed Our Homes and the Happiness We Seek. Please go to supersizingbliss.com to order a copy of my book and find more information. When I don't talk to you, I design sexy, modern, sustainable homes in North and South Carolina and adjacent areas. Subscribe, leave a comment, and click on the links in the show notes.